To order the Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on Wednesday, June 22nd at 7:16 PM. Tonight's the only agenda item is discussion with North Brown LLC. And Ed, you want to join us? So we hadn't had to come and discuss anything with us in quite some time, so we thought we'd get a...
You missed me, right?
We did. We did.
I could say something, but I won't.
Especially John. So we were trying to get an update, and we have some questions, but maybe your update will answer some of the questions. So if you want to give us a quick rundown, we'll...
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure how the meeting got called, and the notice really didn't specify. But in emails with Jay for the past couple weeks, I guess, it seems like the concern was the pace of affordable sales.
I don't think it was sales. I think it was completions.
Okay. In any event. And while we're here, we're concerned about getting occupancy permits because we have a closing scheduled this week, and we need an occupancy permit for 64 Compass Point Drive, and I think Kent's done the inspection for it. So, in terms of the affordables, I think if I could recount where we are with affordables. The board may remember that back late spring, I guess, perhaps early summer, the board approved a modification of the permit to increase the sale price of the affordables.
Correct.
So after that was done, then we drafted the amendment to the regulatory agreement and circulated that, and then that got signed. That had to get circulated for signature. The town signed that in August, I think. I think Mike signed it for the Board of Selectmen. Then it had to get signed by DHCD, and that was, I think she signed it the end of August. We got it back in September and got it recorded in September. So after that got recorded, then we had to do new marketing and lottery for DHCD for the new sale price. So we started that last fall. That went through the fall. They had a number of people that expressed interest, so then they had, after the lottery period and the marketing period was over, then SEB, who was our lottery agent for the first go-round, was doing it as well. They had to get those buyers qualified for in order to buy, and we started getting qualified buyers in February and started doing purchase and sale agreements in February. So we got, actually it went quite well, I thought. We weren't sure what would happen in terms of the affordable buyers, because as you remember at the first go-around, we really didn't get anybody from the lottery. So we got 6 affordable buyers that we circulated purchase and sale agreements, got the purchase and sale agreements signed, and so I got those under agreement. Last winter, all the while we were continuing to sell market rate units and build market rate units, and we were having, we started, well, even before the winter, started having issues with the plumbing subcontractor. He had, before the pandemic, had a crew of, I think, 30, and as of last winter had 6. So it was difficult getting the plumber out to do the work. So that's basically where we are. Again, we have signed purchase and sale agreements. We've extended the purchase and sale agreements for the ones on in Phase 2 because of labor issues and that, we weren't going to meet the original estimated date. And I don't know if you have copies of our purchase and sale agreements, I think.
I think Ken has some in his office, yeah.
Yeah. So if you notice on the purchase and sale agreement, we set them up with estimated closing dates and have provisions for providing a real closing date as we get close. And found that's worked fairly well because it's difficult, particularly in this climate, to estimate when you can get completion. So, it's been about a little under 4 months since we signed purchase and sale agreements. The ones in Phase 2 are at this point scheduled for completion end of summer. The ones on Nautical Way, end of the year, first of the next year. So that's basically where we are. In terms of the sales, I think we've gone through the number of sales and where we are in terms of the comp permit. And I think by an email from Jay yesterday afternoon, he's finally acknowledged that we are in compliance with the terms of the comp permit in terms of our ratio of sales for affordable and market.
Are you, if you have a unit under P&S, are you considering that on your chart as sold?
No.
No?
It's under agreement. We have 12 affordables sold. Okay. So, and if you remember, when we began the project, we were able to sell up to 12 market rate units before we needed to meet the quota for affordable sales. That's what we went through. So it basically goes prospectively, okay? So we've at this point, we've sold 12 affordables. So that would be, we would be completely covered for 36 market rate units, so that means we're into the next block of 16. And of that next block of 16, we can sell 12 before we need to sell an affordable. So, and we've sold 6. So we have 6 more markets that we need that we can sell before we need to sell the affordables, although I don't think that's going to happen. We have 2 market rate units left in Phase 2, the one that hopefully we're going to close tomorrow or Friday, because that's when it's scheduled, and then another. So, and then the next ones that we will be selling will be the 3 affordables. And of the units we're constructing in Phase 3, I think there are 8 units that are currently under construction, and 3 of them are affordables, and all of those are under agreement. So, we think we're well within the limits of the comp permit in terms of the pace of sales.
Because there was an inquiry from a couple individuals that I believe had signed purchase and sales with you for affordable units in January or February,
February. We didn't
with a
sign
closing in June.
June. Again, the
But
estimated.
nothing had got done on the units from
Right.
February until June.
No, that's not true. There was some work done on it, but again, until we get the rough plumbing in, we're,
So a plumber delayed you 6 months?
it's 4, Dan. 4.
Okay.
It was the end of, we signed them the end of February. Again, we have, I'm not sure what unit owners or what buyers you're referring to, but I have agreements from all of the affordable buyers in in Phase 2, extending the purchase and sale agreements.
Yeah, I mean, the concern is obviously rising interest rates may,
It's a concern, yeah,
But some
it's a
people-
concern. I mean, the whole market, I mean, I've been representing condominium developers for 40-plus years, and 1981, the recession was a difficult time, and 2007, 2008, you probably remember, was a difficult time, and this is the challenges that home builders face, I think, in this climate is as great, if not greater than anything we had to deal with back then. So that's,
well, I would certainly like to see the people who committed to buying them be able to afford them, but interest rates have pretty much doubled in the last 4 months,
yeah,
which is going to cost them over the years, and I don't know, I struggle to understand how a plumber can hold you up for 4 months. I mean, there's more than one plumber in this world. It's, I don't know.
okay.
Well, does any board members have any questions?
Well, I only had one. It's regards to, I'm just picking these numbers out.
Yeah.
Number 17 and 19, they're side by each. Those are, say, duplexes.
Are we
And there's
talking
one-
about
Just
unit?
Yeah, units over here. I'm just picking these out.
Okay.
Now, I'll give you, for instance, say for instance, again, I'm only picking this out, is that you have somebody that's already purchased 19, but you haven't finished 17. Is that something that you're running into now? Meaning they're unfinished, but you move on to a one?
I'm sorry, we're 17, 19, what do you?
See the ones that are here?
His is not colored like ours.
Oh, okay. I'm just using an example, Ed, so what I'm asking is,
Okay.
nothing in
Phase-
particular, this could be anywhere.
Phase 1, everything is sold in Phase 1.
Okay, but I'm using this as an example.
Okay.
I'm not sure where you are as far as building with the affordable.
We're building in Phase 2, okay? The 3 affordables are,
Are they done?
Yeah, John, you need to look at this list that he gave you.
no,
Yeah.
More so than the map,
Okay, all right.
because that list is going to give you
This one here,
everything that references that. And then-
this one here, you're talking about.
Yes. Yep.
no, not that one.
No, it's going to look like this. Sorry, it's
Couple pages in.
This,
Okay.
not that.
this one here.
Yep.
Yep, that one right there.
That's fine.
Yep.
I see the sold sign on all of them, but I was just questioning under contract and all that. If you had one that was right next door to another and it was unfinished,
Yeah.
you moved on to something else.
Yeah, as we sell them, we build them and
And you finish?
finish them. So if we,
And they
if
sit
if
there
they're
empty
two
when
units,
it's good.
if it's a 2-unit building, right?
Yeah.
And a few of them, half is an affordable and half is a market rate.
Right.
Okay? So we put up the building, and if we have a market rate buyer, we complete the market rate side, right? And when we get an affordable buyer, we complete the affordable side. And as I explained to you, basically the affordable sales were on hold from the time that we asked for the price increase to when we got all the signatures and did all the marketing and got buyers qualified. And that was 9 or 10 months. So yes, during that time, there might have been a market rate, and there were market rate units that were completed, and the affordable side
I was just curious about
was
this.
rough.
Yeah.
So,
When you say there's a lottery on, and a lot of this stuff, of course, is done through the state. Is there,
it's all done, yeah.
yeah, so does that take longer when they find somebody, no matter where they are, or just somebody that comes to you first and they go to the lottery? How's that work? I'm just curious.
Well, as I said, we hire SCB, which is a company that specializes in affordable housing
Yeah.
and specializes in qualifying buyers for affordable housing. So they do the marketing and the lottery, and then they qualify the people who show up and express an interest so that they meet the income limits and asset limits. And they qualify them with DHCD, and then they issue a notice to us that these people can now sign a contract.
Another concern, Ed, that came up is you're just approaching the 50% mark in terms of sales on the whole development. And there's a lot of work to be done completing the infrastructure.
Well, the infrastructure we're through, all of the buildings are up in phase 2, and the infrastructure is in. Okay? There's some sidewalks in front of the units that are still being completed. But other than that, all of the infrastructure is in.
Yeah, well, maybe I used the wrong
Phase 1
term.
and phase 2. And in fact, we've put in the roadway for phase 3.
Right.
In our building, and then the infrastructure is in there for phase 3.
Yeah.
So we're well beyond half of the infrastructure.
I understand, but there's a lot of work left to complete.
Yeah, there is.
Phase 1, phase 2.
Not that much.
Then why don't you do it now?
Like what?
Finish phase 1 and phase 2, the roadway and
The roadway's done, Dan.
the top coat?
Not the top coat. We don't, under the permit, we don't have to do the top coat until the end of the project. The permit says before the last 4 marketable market rate units are done. So that's
I'll
what
have
the
to review
permit
that.
says.
I mean,
So we're trying to build it according to the permit, Dan. And I think we are. I think we're in full compliance with the permit.
yeah. I'll have to review that because I'm not aware that the last 4 units were the time frame to finish the subdivision. I mean, asphalt prices are increasing, and wouldn't it behoove you to get some of that paving work done now?
Don't you do final paving when you complete a subdivision?
Yes, but not for 123 units. Those are usually done in phases, and they finish phase 1, whatever, complete it, and then,
Well, the permit was set up for phases, and that wasn't necessarily our, at the time that we did the permit, the town of Douglas had a phased development bylaw, and so, we didn't comply with that, but we didn't need to comply with that, but there was phasing built into the permit, and condominiums are generally built in phases.
I don't disagree with that, but also,
And so you don't, you sell the prior phases before you move on to the next phase, and that's what we're doing.
right, but in a subdivision, as you referred to a few minutes ago, there's surety bonds. There's no surety bond here.
No. Well, there is a surety bond at the end of phase 3. We need to post a surety bond for the final paving of the project. That's in the permit. That was built into the permit. The town drafted the permit, so again, we're complying with the permit.
Before the start of units in the final phase?
Yes. Before work is begun in the final phase. And phasing is determined by the number of units that are sold or the time frame that's gone through. So we can't start a new phase for 18 months, prior to 18 months from when we started the prior phase. And we have sold at least half of the units in the prior phase. So that's how the permit is set up.
Just so I understand, so you're saying the permit is that the phases 1, 2, and 3 will be complete, meaning top coat, the whole bit, before you
No.
build on lot
There'll
4?
be a
permit-
surety bond in place.
The surety bond will be put in place when we start the fourth phase, the surety bond for the final coat of paving. That's what the permit says.
Okay. Seems to me it'd be financially prudent to do it sooner rather than later, because it's never going to be cheaper than today.
Well,
Than it was.
when,
You
well,
know,
if you were doing it, you could
I'm
do
just
so.
concerned about the, protecting the people that made an investment there. There is no surety bond. If there's no surety bond, we wouldn't even be discussing it. You know? But those people made a significant investment, and especially people in Phase 1 have been living like that for quite some time. So, anybody else that has any?
If nobody
Questions or
else has
comments?
anything, I got just a couple of things. Because Ken's new to this project, and I've been on this board for a little while, so I had some background information on it. I had mentioned to Ken that he has to pay attention to the affordable ratio. And the confusion comes in with the ratio. You experienced it with Jay in the emails. When you start thinking about it in a percentage fashion instead of a block fashion, 25%, I even did a math equation for him, and it was when Neil, I think Neil, you're the one that supplied this. When you wrote block over here of 16, I'm like, I went back and read the MOU, and it's exactly what it says, block of 16. So when you start thinking of in that manner, it is 25%, but it's after you do the 75%, you can do the 25%. So it's a little confusing, but you're absolutely correct. There's a reason why I'm explaining this. So because we were going back and forth like that, I'm like, I haven't been up there in a while, I'm gonna take a ride through. And I took a ride through, and then when I went through 2, I noticed 3 or 4 units that people living on one side, the other side is just rough frames. Most of them don't have garage doors on them. Peeked in as I'm going through from my truck driving. I didn't get out and look in them. I just drove through slow and noticed there was no visible wiring or anything like that. So then I came back to the town hall, and I seen the building official's assistant, and I said, can you pull up, I wrote down the addresses. I said, can you pull up all these? I want to see what the dates are on the inspections. And what I get concerned about is one of them, the foundation inspection, they only had foundation inspection. None of them had any other inspections because nothing was to that stage. And one of them was dated, I believe, December of 2020, which raised a concern. It's like, because when we came in and we started talking about reversing 3 and 4 phases, and then had the conversation about releasing, letting 4 foundations go in there. The fire chief was here, we had a big discussion about the distance to the fire hydrant and all that nonsense. Tim had said that phase 2 was sold out. So I was surprised to see, I think it was 4 units that were unfinished. I'm like, this isn't sold out. And then I seen that. So that's what prompted a lot of this get together. We need to get all on the same page. And then simultaneously, somebody reached out to the chairman with concerns about their units not being worked on. So that's why we're here today. I don't know if you can give us any clarity as to why there are unfinished units in phase 2. Just let me finish and then you can have it. Why there are unfinished units in phase 2 when I was, as a member, I can't speak for anybody else, I as a member was under the impression that phase 2 was completed. Because it was, everything was sold, so you had no inventory. That's why we had to put in these 4 foundations. And then I noticed that under we're under contract in phase 3 for 3 of the affordables, but we still have these affordables that are unfinished in phase 2. And one last thing, and then you can have it. 64, you said you wanted to get a CO for Friday. Yeah, closing. You had closing on Friday on 64. You said it was an affordable, but on here it's not marked.
No, I didn't say it was an affordable.
Okay, we can go back on the tape. You said it a little while.
No, I didn't, I said I had a closing for 64. I did not say it
Okay.
was an affordable.
All right, I'll watch the tape. But that's what I heard you say, so,
No.
okay. But in any event, that's my concern, and those are my questions as it relates to phase 2.
Okay. I'm not sure what the question is.
The question is you, the oldest one that is in phase 2 is, foundation inspection was done in December of 2020, and then I believe it was the January and February of 21, 2 other foundations were inspected, but those there's units, half of the duplexes are sitting there in the frame state.
Yeah, well, again, I think I explained the situation in terms of the sales of affordables, that while we were doing once we were advised that we could increase sale prices of the affordables, we pursued that, okay? We were not concerned about because of the 12 sales that we had at that point of affordables, and because that covered everything through phase 2, okay, in terms of being able to sell market rate units, because understand, we have to sell market rate units in order to afford to build affordables. Okay, that's how the program.
Economics.
That's how the program works. Okay, so we weren't concerned about the being able to sell the rest of phase 2 because we had enough affordable sales already done to cover it. And I think if Tim said that we were told, I don't recall that statement, but apparently you've reviewed it on tape, I guess. But
Wants to be acknowledged.
Yeah, so let him-
so that's what the situation is. I don't know what else to tell you.
Tim, did you want to speak?
When I made that statement, if I did make it, I was referring to the market rate units, not the affordables.
Yeah.
We were sold out for the market rate units. The affordables are pretty much guaranteed they're going to be sold. So we needed inventory to keep moving on the market rate so we can sell those to be able to build the affordables.
Just got a question, Mr. Chairman, if I could.
So-
How long did it take you for the affordables, from start to finish, to get the increase from the state? After all the signatures went through for the rust,
Yeah.
how long did it take?
For
What was your delay? What was your delay? You put them on hold, and then you had to get the approval for the raising the increase, right?
Well, we became aware that we could get an increase. Maybe a year,
A year
year and
ago?
a half ago.
Okay.
Okay, and we had to come to the town, first of all, to get approvals, and we got approvals from you guys back last spring or summer, okay? And then had to draft an amendment to the regulatory agreement, get that approved by DHCD, Douglas Town Council, right? Once it got approved, then we had to get it signed. It got signed, as I said, it got signed, Mike signed it for the Board of Selectmen on the beginning of August. The DHCD commissioner, or whatever she's called, signed it at the end of August, and by the time I got it back in September, we recorded it in September. And then, once that got signed, then we had to do marketing and lottery at the new price, okay, for affordable buyers.
So you're talking
And again,
about 12 months, 8 months, 10 months?
for what?
from start to finish to get the increase?
Yeah, I don't recall exactly when we started pursuing it.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
you know, I know when we got it approved by this board, and I know when it was signed by the Board of Selectmen, I know when it was signed by
I'm just
DHCD,
curious.
and I know when I recorded it, so.
Yeah. Just curious.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
In phase two, those that are affordables that are left over in there, when was the PNS signed on those?
February.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My biggest concern I see in this development is if those affordables have PNS signs on them, why are they not being expedited? Why is the rest of it not being put on hold to get these affordables taken care of, get this thing taken care of?
Well, again, we are in compliance with the pace of sale of affordables as set forth in the comp permit, okay? We have market rate buyers that signed purchase and sale agreements well before last February, okay? And we're attempting to deliver units as quickly as we can. It's been a difficult time to develop. It's been a difficult time to build. And I don't think 4 months is a unduly long time. I mean, you built houses, man. I don't know if Mike builds them. I know you do. And how long does it take you to build a house?
6 months?
And from when you get a purchase and sale agreement, I mean, I noticed that we had a recent sale on Vine Street. It looked like that had been
Yep.
under construction for a year,
No.
wasn't it?
Not even close.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. We're not here to discuss your business, my business, or anybody else's business. I would prefer to stay on. The concern that I have as sitting on this board is the whole benefit to a 40B project coming into town is to help with the affordable rate, the affordable ratio for the town. That's what's attractive for the town. So obviously, we're interested in getting that done. I understand the basic economics of you have to get your market rates done, but people apply for the affordable rates because they have limited funds in which to qualify. And the concern is as time goes on, the rates go up or they lose financing altogether. It's a losing situation for you, for the applicant, and for the town. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it's a problem for market rate buyers. The rates are rising. I mean, it's not anything that we have control over, and
Market rates are a little different than affordable rates.
yeah, usually
Because
the
they have a
increases are more.
qualifying window they need to be in, and a difference, a point in their interest rates could push them out of it. So, do you?
No, I understand the concern.
Yeah, we keep
And
going
again,
around in the
we're-
circles,
you
so
know, we're
I
in a-
guess, let's just cut to the chase.
You know.
What is your expected delivery of the ones that are under agreement that you must be getting some sort of pressure from your applicants, so.
Actually, no.
Okay.
Actually, no. Most of them are represented, all are represented by council. I've not heard from council saying, you know, what's going on, how come it's not built? And in fact, they all of the affordables agreed to the extension of time that we recently did for those purchase and sale agreements. So, and the purchase and sale agreements in phase 3 have a longer period. I think, again, as I said, it's the end of the year, beginning of next, in terms of being able to deliver them. When they signed them, they understood that, because they understood it takes time to build them, as all buyers do. So that's, I don't know what else I can tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, we would like to sell them. If we could get them done faster, there's no benefit to us to delay the sales. Really, there's no benefit to us. The sooner
Well,
we can
there
get
is a
them sold.
benefit. If you're doing market rate ones, you're going to make more money. It's just economic. So there is a benefit if you think of it in that term. Tim keeps motioning to me. Oh, okay. Yep. No, I just wanted to make sure that
Hey,
being
no.
acknowledged, that's all. I'm always
Again,
telling you to hold on, so I just try to help
We will,
keep this to a minimum.
I will tell you if we can sell this, market rate this unit this week, we will, and we have. I mean, Ken did a rough on one of the affordables, I think, last week, right? A rough inspection.
I don't know if that was affordable or not.
It was.
They did an installation inspection on it.
And they've got.
Is that in phase 2?
In phase 2, and the electricals are all in, and all of them, and the HVAC is.
Not to be a wise guy, I'm just asking for logistics. Is that the one with the snow plow, or is that up the other end?
I have no idea.
There's one with a snow plow on the right-hand side?
No, it's not.
No, it's not that one.
No, it's one before.
All right. And then you got one further up on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the last unit, actually, the last unit in phase 2.
Are those started on their mechanicals? Yeah.
Just have electrical
and HVAC. Almost
Okay.
starting tomorrow.
As far as the units go, that's all I have on them. I don't want to keep beating the same thing, because I think I've made my point as to where I stand with it. But I do have some questions when we get into this other little chart.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak on this? Ma'am, you just need to identify yourself for the minute taker,
Oh, Ashley Plano.
okay?
I'm just wondering what's being done to like expedite the phase 2 phase to being done. As I see like phase 3 and 4, they're like already still building.
Well, that's of concern to us as well.
I figured you'd finish phase 2 and get all that done and then start your next one.
Is there a limit to just four buildings in phase 3?
No, that limit on the 4
Four
buildings.
foundations,
was
8
regards to the road getting wider, infrastructure put in across,
Yeah.
one to the other.
Again, the limit in the comp permit, in terms of starting the next phase, is having sold half of the prior phase or 18 months from the beginning of construction. Prior phase. That's how it works. So, I mean, we're trying to expedite it as quickly as possible. So we're going on to the next phase. To do the framing of buildings in phase 3 has not any impact on how the units that are framed and needs to have the rough and finish done in phase 2. They're two different things.
So there's no roughs done in phase 3, other than the buildings are up?
I think there's, I don't know.
When I went through there, they were framed, and one was sided, and they were working on the other ones. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think.
There may be one that has rough. Again, that was and that's a unit that's been under agreement for quite a long time. And that
Longer than 4 months?
oh yeah. And it's a market rate unit. And when the buyer signed it, they knew it would be a long period in terms of construction, but that was the unit that they wanted, so that's.
Ken?
I just did an installation inspection on 1 and 3, which is the first unit in on phase 3.
Okay.
Number 3 passed, number 1 was complete.
For, I'm sorry, did you say insulation? For insulation, you said?
And then unit 2 and 4 across the way are sided, which goes in.
So they would just frame this winter, and they have mechanicals done in them, but there's units that have been standing for 6 months without any mechanicals. Is that accurate? Tim?
No, that's good.
Yes, that is accurate. Yes. That- Which is within the guidelines of the comprehensive permit.
And again, the buyer of that unit in Phase 3 was under a purchase and sale agreement long before we even started marketing the affordables. So, I mean, I don't know if you would have us say, oh, we can't deliver your unit that you signed a purchase and sale agreement for, 9 months ago because we need to deliver an affordable unit within 4 months. I don't think that's required. I'm not even sure that's within the authority of this board under 40B. So,
No, we're just trying to do our due diligence as well.
Trying to protect the town, that's all.
I
Well-
agree 100%.
Well, I mean, it's too bad council's not here because they could maybe explain some of the legalities of 40B and what's proper for the ZBA to consider and what's beyond the scope of their authority and is the obligation of the monitoring agent and the subsidizing agency. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Dan. We're doing the best we can. We'll get them done as quickly as we can. Again, if we can get the occupancy permit for the unit that we have under agreement and is supposed to close this week, then we will focus, and we are focusing on completing the affordables.
I understand, but the affordables that were framed before the foundations ever went in on
I'm sorry?
a couple of the affordable units were framed, standing, those buildings were up
Yes.
prior to putting the foundations in on Phase 3.
Yeah, but with no buyers.
With no buyers?
With no buyers for those affordables.
I thought they went under purchase and sale in January or February.
In February, yeah,
February.
yeah.
And when did those foundations go in? February, March?
No.
No.
The foundation was in when the market rate was built on the opposite side. So if
I
we sell a
understand.
I'm
market
not
rate.
sure.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
So that's why.
Are we talking about Phase 2?
I'm talking about Phase 3.
You're talking about Phase
Phase
3.
What it wasn't
I'm
fixed.
saying that 4 units were built there,
Yes.
but the affordables on Phase 2 were standing, and nothing got done for 6 months, 4 months, according to
I
Ed.
have to build and sell market rates to be able to build and sell the affordables.
I understand that.
My comprehensive permit is written where I can sell 12 market rates
Mm-hmm.
and then 4 affordables.
Right?
I'm well within those guidelines. If I want to do mechanicals within the guidelines of my block of 16 on market rates, because I have to sell those first to be able to bring in the funds to complete the affordables. So I would love to be able to have the funds to build all the affordables, and all this would go away. But unfortunately, that's not the way my business is run.
I understand.
You're trying to drive my business.
No, we're not. We're concerned about the people that are buying
And I'm
affordables,
within my comprehensive permit of my
and you
block.
think that's the correct way to treat people who put a deposit down and you do nothing for
Absolutely not.
months and months at a
Nothing for
time?
months. And that's not the way I,
That young lady put a deposit down in January or February. 0 was done in there for 2 weeks,
So-
until 2 weeks ago.
What do you want to do here, Dan?
No, we're trying to
what do you-
protect the,
We're building within the comprehensive permit. We're
Okay.
within our comprehensive permit, okay?
well, we'll have to review that to make sure that's the case, because this is just not fair to people. You know?
To who? To the buyers that we have that are hoping to move into a unit this week? Is it fair to them?
Hey,
Is it fair to them?
Maybe,
Yeah?
maybe. I don't know. And
How
leaving
many, have you ever built affordable?
Never,
Never, no.
never have.
Would you?
I think we got to stick to
Again, a
the
point of order,
situation
Mr.
here,
Chairman, is,
you know?
Well, no, my point is, there is, the scope of authority of a ZBA under a comp permit is
No,
the
we'll talk
same.
with town council, and we're
is the
going to see
same-
what the ZBA has for authority. How's that? Okay? We'll talk to town council, we'll see what the ZBA has for authority.
Okay, what about the occupancy permit for the unit?
I don't know what you guys
I
want
mean,
to do.
you can take all the time you want on deciding what you're going to do. We
Ed,
need
we've
the
bent and
occupancy.
bent and bent with you for the last several years, you know, and it's a one-way street.
Really?
Yes, it is. It has been.
I disagree, Dan.
In what way? Yeah, look, we don't need to get, again, we would like the occupancy for the market rate unit that's completed, that's inspected, an occupancy issued for the unit next door to us a few months ago, okay? I mean, as an example of how units get built, okay? We sold that unit, the one next door, we got the occupancy back in February. Okay, we would like the occupancy for the unit next to it. It's ready to go. And if the board is just looking to hold us up and to
Not looking to hold you up, Ed.
cost
We have
us
bent,
money.
and you know how much we have bent. We have bent over backwards.
It's
for you.
cost us a lot of money, this board, but again, I don't want to rehash that, okay? Just let us know what you want to do on the affordables, but please, we need the occupancy on that unit.
This isn't the first time you've come in with the same cry. Right? Phase one, the same thing.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
64 and 66 must be the duplex, correct? Is that what it is?
Yes,
Yeah,
it would be
okay.
side by side.
All right. So that's one of the 3 or 4 that I seen when I was going through. One was unfinished on one side and whatever.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
No, they're on the,
I guess I-
64 and 66 are on the left-hand side as you're driving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just for clarity,
What's the question?
which one am I talking to? Okay. So my question was that one of the unfinished halves that I seen when I went through there?
I don't know which.
So should I ask
unfinished
him
half-
this question, because that's what he started to answer for me? So,
I don't know what you saw.
I'm not trying to be difficult
No,
with you, but
I
if
tried
you
to-
get difficult with me,
I tried to
I'll turn
explain,
into Tim.
64 and 66 are on the left-hand side. I thought you were
And
talking
you
about.
said that this board, I took offense to the fact that you said this board costs you a lot of money. Historically, you raise your eyebrows, do whatever you want, just don't roll your eyes. Historically, I've done a lot to assist you guys in getting past these milestones. And I'm continuing to do the same thing. My concern is having half of duplexes. And you said, is it fair to the new buyers about the, it's not fair to the buyers that bought before to live next to a house that's half done. You got one that's completely done, the people got all their flowers and all this other nonsense. The unit right next to it's got a snowplow sitting in it, no garage door, and you can see right through it. That's not fair, okay? So I'm just addressing that comment that you asked Dan earlier. I just would like to understand what the direction is to complete those other remaining units that are in Phase 2. I understand that you're going forward in Phase 3 and all that stuff. These people sitting in the audience, I don't know if both of them are buyers or one of them is a buyer, but apparently one is. Can we answer some of their concerns as to when we may be able to get them into their homes? And that's part of the conversation here. Yelling and screaming and getting aggravated with each other isn't going to accomplish anything. It's never been this intention of the board to try to hold you up, but at certain points, it had to become a leverage thing. You remember, we can go back to when Pam was here. You came in, you asked for 5, I would look at the calendar, and I'd look at your list of your closing, and I'd say, all right, why don't we give them 2? And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And there was a method to it, so we could get to a point. We kind of lost a little traction because the new building commissioner was at a disadvantage, so he wasn't as up on it and as aggressive as the former town engineer was. So hopefully you found a happy medium. Neil's has...
Really happy medium, right?
Well, Neil has
Sorry, but it's
expressed,
true.
let me finish.
Yeah.
Neil has expressed the positive interactions that he's had with, and just volunteered it when we happened to run into each other in the parking lot one time. I just asked him, how's things going? Oh, great. How's it going with Ken? Good, good. He tells us what he needs, and we get it done. I've asked Ken the same thing in passing. So all in all, I think it's a positive thing, but we have underlying concerns. My biggest concern is going through phase 2, and it's stuck in my head that I was told that, I already wrote down the notes, so I'll look at the old tape, it doesn't matter at this point. But I was under the understanding that phase 2 was done. I was kind of shocked to see half of duplexes that were just framed. So that's why I came back, and then when Jackie looked them up, I'm like, friggin', they're almost 2 years old, what's going on with this? And then that's what prompted all this stuff. So if you can help us come up with a definitive plan to try to somewhat satisfy us, satisfy the buyers that we have sitting in the audience, we should be able to get to some sort of conclusion with this. And we're trying to work with you, Tim. We're not trying to be difficult. I have no interest in shouting matches or watching everybody get upset and all this other nonsense. It's just, let's get the thing done. That's been the goal for everybody sitting here since I've been around it.
The other thing, Mayor, we can't forget a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you were here every month, were you not? Every month. For a while, we're asking for clarity, what's going on. So you haven't been here in a while. So, and this is the first time it got this heated. We're just trying to help. And to help answer questions, that's all. You can say everything you want about what your law is and all that, but we have concerns, like he said. Phase 2 is not done.
If I can
Okay?
Sure. Phase 2, we have 3 units left to complete. They're all being mechanically roughed right now. One of them has insulation, is lined up to be put. All 3 are affordables. Anticipated finish dates on them, 3 months to 4 months.
Woman in the audience.
Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Daigle. Now, when papers were signed in February, we were told the closing date would be end of May, beginning of June, and now we're into July, and now you're saying 3 to 4 months from now they'll be done. And there was nothing that came back to us saying there's going to be an extension of this time.
I'm sorry, what? I didn't get your name.
Daigle was her last name.
I'm sorry?
Stephanie Daigle.
Daigle?
Daigle, D-A-I-G-L-E.
You know which unit it was?
63.
63.
63 Daigle.
Or maybe end of June, beginning July, but
I don't,
you can't give a date of a closing and then not give us an extension in writing.
again, when we signed the purchase and sale agreements for all of the units in phase 2, and none of them are with anyone named Daigle. I'm
No,
sorry.
she's with me.
It's her house. I was with her the day she signed her papers. And the lady said, either end of May, beginning...
Oh, so what's the name that's on it?
Oh, Polino.
Yeah, that's where the confusion came
Sorry.
from. Yeah, no problem. It's been one of those nights for everybody, so that's
Wednesday.
Yeah, what you signed with the broker back then was a reservation.
Correct. And she
And
said,
it didn't have a date on it.
She gave us a date.
yes.
Well, I don't know about that.
There's a date right here, June
When you
30th.
signed the purchase and sale agreement, the original date was
Estimated closing date is June 30th.
of June. But that was, if you look at your purchase and sale agreement, was an estimated closing date.
Correct, but we were unaware that you guys did not have enough plumbers. That wasn't an issue or anything said to us about that. And then you come back 4 months later and nothing's done.
And her realtor is constantly emailing for
Emailing,
updates.
reaching out, I ask for updates, we get nothing. It's like talking to a wall. And interest rates are rising. I just feel like people, I understand that the affordables, you don't get whatever money from, but I mean, everything's more interested in finishing up the other ones so you can get more money.
No, that's not the, no, that's not the case.
I mean, the
We
affordables only have a
finished,
certain amount of time. We're within a range for, your finances.
yeah.
How many affordable, market do you have in phase 2, market homes?
They're probably
Is there 12? Because if you say you have every 12, then you do an affordable home, then those should be done, right?
I'm not sure what the question is.
You said after every 12 market value homes, you do an affordable home, because you need the money for those.
4.
So I was asking, how
No,
many homes
no.
in that phase 2 do you have? Is there 12, less than 12?
There are more than 12.
Okay, so then how come those other 3 affordable homes couldn't get done?
We've already sold affordables in phase 2. We've sold another.
Right, but what I'm saying is, why aren't they being worked on? You just started
We
2
are-
weeks ago.
We are working on it.
I know, but 2 weeks ago. We drive down here like almost every week to see what's going on.
But
I know this is probably a repetitive thing, but it's very aggravating.
All right, we want to move on to these.
Sure.
There's a list of issues that have come up along the way that haven't been addressed in some time. On 8/12 of 19, the consulting engineer had discussion about the stormwater cell number 43, and it's scheduled to be addressed in July of '22. 2 years. Seems a bit long.
We had to have stabilization, which we have now around the stormwater. So now we have the Florida. It's functioning, and it has been functioning.
So on July of '22, you're going to loom and create the base, the bottom?
Bottom's already been scratched out. You scratch the bottom out
We're gonna have to clean it out one more time.
one more time, and then we're gonna loom it on 722, yes.
So, actually, I'm sorry, that's 3 years from the time it was brought to your attention. Consulting engineer,
We've been continually straightening it out, cleaning it, continuing for it to function. We've been waiting for stabilization around that area. The area was under construction.
for 3 years?
Yes. Yes, it was functioning. It was holding water. It was just holding the water longer than 72 hours. But water wasn't running out. It wasn't releasing solids downstream. It was holding. It just wasn't percolating fast enough.
engineer had something else in November of '21 about completing a swale behind units 35 and 36,
Yes.
and that's due to be addressed this month.
No, it's done now.
It is done.
Yeah.
Well, because this
We're
just
working on
came,
it today.
I believe, from your office.
Yeah, we're working on it today. It's not complete. We're just saying that's when it'll be for sure 100%. And again, that's at the end of phase 2.
Okay.
That's where we're just finishing up now.
All right. Then we had, the consultant engineer said there was undermining of a stormwater basin number 2. That was in
What number are you on?
23.
Thank you.
And that was last August, and it says that that's going to be addressed this month.
No, that was addressed. It's done.
I believe this is like 3 days old. Was received by the Community Development Department 3 days ago. I'm sorry,
Which number, Dan?
23.
I think you got that on the
24.
28th, right?
No, 21st, stamped in on the 21st.
Mr. Chairman, that's number 24. Storm basin number 2 is on number 24, line 24.
Yeah.
Stormwater basin? Yeah.
What number are we on?
He's
Number
on
24.
24.
Oh, I was reading
Stormwater
23,
basin
sorry.
number 2,
Yeah.
floor grading, and it says will be addressed 9/22.
I don't have that. Mine's different.
9/22.
Yeah, we're waiting for the slopes to be stabilized, and then we're going to put the new floor in, which is typical. I think what Leonard's pointing out is that the work isn't complete. He's not saying go and do it. He's saying it's not completed, and we need to wait until the slopes have been stabilized, and then we can put the floor in so it doesn't silt out.
Who typed these things? You typed them? Oh, you did?
I received those from you.
When I see addressed 522, what does that mean?
The work's been completed.
Item number 23 has been completed?
Sorry, I don't have it.
Yeah, item 23 is completed. Yeah.
Item 23, yes.
3 has been completed.
Stormwater basin 2, yes.
Okay. And item 24 is scheduled to be completed in September?
Yes. Or sooner, as soon as the slopes are stabilized. We're waiting for good growth.
Can I go backwards for a minute?
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
have a question. I was looking at this purchase and sales for number 63. On the second page, no, on page 3, I'm sorry. On page 3, B, can you explain that to me as a lawyer?
I don't have it in front of me.
I'll bring it there. He's a lawyer. You're the builder.
I was going to hand it.
This is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, again,
So what does that mean?
it means that when we do the purchase and sale agreements, the date, the June 30th date is an estimated closing date. And we have the right, under the purchase and sale agreement, prior to the estimated closing date, to designate a specific closing date, right? Which will be a business day no sooner than 30 days, which is never the case, or later than 60 days.
Well, no later than 60 days.
No later,
No later.
nor later than 60
Yes,
days.
so that's what, so you're saying, and I'm just reading this thing because it's something that was provided. So in here, it says no later than that, so July 30th, August 30th, for your estimating 4 months.
Well, if you read further in in that paragraph, there's a provision for further extensions. There are extensions that essentially for 90 days after the estimated closing date. And that doesn't include force majeure events, which would be such things as unavailability of materials or acts of God. So that's the way the purchase and sale agreement is set up. And I believe she was represented by counsel when she signed the purchase and sale agreement. So if counsel didn't explain it to her, I don't know.
Well, I don't, and I'm not representing her, asking her for nothing. I don't understand it. I'm going by what I read. You're the one that's the attorney, and I would assume that you probably concocted this thing. So I want to understand what it was that you were intending here. I don't see anything about 90 days. I was trying to find that in here. So your force majeure,
No,
it could be
no,
unlimited.
what I'm
amount.
saying is a total of, there's a 60-day period, there's a 60-day period, and then a 30-day period. And then there's a force majeure clause in the purchase and sale agreement. And again,
And I'm not trying
all
to
of those,
I'm trying to get some answers, that's all.
all of those dates can be changed by mutual agreement of the parties. And Ms. Paolino did sign an extension of the closing date.
So there's something besides this document here.
There is.
Can you provide a copy of that to the building commissioner at some point?
Sure.
Well, he has these, and this is all we have to go by, so
Right.
it's gonna make it a lot easier, or whatever. It might be
Yeah.
annoying for you for me to ask for that, but it makes it a lot easier if you have something, it's a piece of paper that has the date on it, so I'm not gonna ask you this question if I can see the date in front of me. So I'm going by this particular document, and I sign contracts too that there's a clause in there that I can't be responsible for delays and weather and all this other nonsense, but I can't anticipate that and push the date out. I have to go by what my intended completion date is, and I address those concerns as they arise, not prior to. So, and I didn't mean to talk about my business because we're here to talk about yours, since I stopped you twice about talking about Dan's, but just addressing a statement. Sorry, Dan, thank you.
No, no
Let me
problem.
go backwards on that.
No problem. Well, Ken?
So with regards to this schedule for coming from Leonard Engineering, I believe that's where this came from, yeah.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. One, with the rain gardens in phase 1, phase 2, some of the rain gardens have a mulch bottom. Two of them do not. Which is the design?
The larger bioretention basins, the larger ones have a grass bottom, and the smaller ones have a mulch.
Well, I'm talking the ones in between all the units, not the larger ones in the back of the units, but.
No, but there's larger ones also in between the
In
units.
between.
And the two larger ones both have drop inlets in them,
Okay,
and that's for the overflow, and they have a grass bottom.
okay, so that's like around unit 31 was one of them, and then further down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's unit,
Yeah.
33, and the other one was down.
Yeah, there's 1, 2,
59.
3 larger bioretention
Okay.
basins.
And then the other question would be, the entryway coming in with the wrap in between. I gotta say personally, I'm sick and tired of hitting my little can on it. Is there something that we can do to change that, alter that, get rid of that wrap, do something so that it's not continually in the center of the road?
That was originally designed to have a grass swale in the middle. And the town engineer at the time we were installing it thought that the grass swale would just get destroyed by cars driving through it, salt going in, it would kill the grass. And we agreed
We're
also.
talking about that strip.
Yeah, the strip down the median, yeah. When we go and do final top coat, we're gonna talk with our engineers and bring it to the board's attention, have Leonard consent on it, is to possibly pave that metal with a swale in it, because we do have catch basins at different locations going down, so that would direct the water into the catch basin, that we wouldn't have that problem.
But in the meantime, that's quite an issue. I mean, I'm gonna say probably 9 out of 10 times in that development. It wouldn't be bad if it was pea stone or crushed stone, but I'm talking, I've hit my own can twice. Little disturbing.
Okay?
You have 3 affordables left in phase 2, right?
Correct.
All right. I'm sorry to, I'm just stuck,
No,
I'm
no, you
just
can
stuck on
stay
this
on them all night.
and working through it.
Yeah?
So you have 3 of them, all 3 of them are agreement?
Yes.
And where does hers fit in the rotation?
I'm not
Three?
exactly sure what number.
Hers is.
She's number 63.
Yeah, but my-
70, no, unit 76.
It's unit 76?
Yeah, yeah.
So unit 76, the rough electrical's complete, rough HVAC's complete, and the plumbing's scheduled to start tomorrow. We actually should-
That's only gonna take a couple days if he
Yeah.
gets in there anyway.
Yeah,
so-
and then insulation and then blue board right after.
So by the end of next week, if all goes well, you might even have the insulator in there.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm just trying to provide some answers.
Oh,
for
and
this
I'm
precedent,
sympathetic,
that's all.
I want them done as fast as possible
Yep,
also.
no.
It has a lot to do with, just funds and
Just clean it up, get it
scheduling
off
and
you, yeah.
the way things are going right now in the industry.
So it's possible that that unit would be done short of
It could be done.
3 or
yes,
4 months.
Absolutely, it could be done sooner.
If things go well, you
If-
could be done within the next 45 to 60 days, probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm anticipating.
I'm just talking to them like a
more
bill, that's what I
shortages.
do too, so I'm just,
I don't know if you heard
Trying
this,
to
but we
help you.
just heard Blue Board's gonna be in short supply very soon.
well, order it now.
Yeah, I thought to order.
I already said it before you did.
I would love to order a boatload, but we don't have any place to store.
Yeah.
And we can't, I can't buy 300,000 sheets.
Our goal as a board is to have a working relationship, but also keep the project under control. So,
And you've been very helpful in a lot of instances.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, addressing a question that Ed had, and it's lingering out there. Because it is in phase 2, and it is one of the half a duplexes that I've seen, I would like to continue the process and keep it going. I don't see any benefit to holding up the occupancy on that particular unit. Just keep it going and keeping the units closing and moving forward.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, I
That's
just,
my 2 cents on it, that's all. I don't see anything that we would gain otherwise. Before, when we had the affordables that were lingering behind, and fortunately, Tim listened to the suggestion that I had, is just advertise the daylights out of it, and then he was able to catch up real quick. That was part of that problem. I just want to see these phases completed so that people that have bought into them, whether it's market rate or affordable, they're surrounded by completed units, not, and plus the construction's out of that area. Because when I went up there, you got vans and work trucks all over the place, little kids and bicycles and whatnot. It's just not a good situation.
No,
And I'm
the
not
goal's
trying
not
to
to
put
hold
any-
anybody up, it's just to
Yeah.
get these units done. These affordable ones, these people, the interest rates are doubled on them. I don't think that's quite fair.
Again, I'm sympathetic, and yes, I agree with you 100%.
You know?
And we know where that unit is. The other ones, the rough started on those two.
Yeah, on unit 72, that's the furthest along.
Yeah.
And that was the first PNS that got signed. Blue Board's scheduled for the first week in July.
Yeah. So that's
And that's
one,
affordable.
2, 3.
That's an
So
affordable.
was there
Yeah.
4 of them or only 3 of them?
There's 3 left in phase 2.
All right, so there was a
Yeah.
3 house that I said. I
Yeah.
didn't remember if it was 3 or 4, so.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
also have 3 under construction in phase 3.
Right, but those phase 2,
Yeah.
once these 3 are done, then that, hopefully you'll be able to clean the sidewalks up and whatnot and get that under control.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
You want to make a motion to that?
Schedule on that sidewalk completion on.
Is that a motion?
No, wait a minute.
That's on.
I'll make a
Start
motion.
to
of
work
it.
together.
You good, Ken?
I'm all set.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the, release any holes that may be, with the building commissioner to issue the certificate of occupancy on unit 64, is that correct?
64 Compass Point Drive,
64 Compass Point Drive,
Unit 31.
unit 31.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Bombara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, Dan Heaney.
Fitzpatrick, aye?
Palmer, aye.
Budget, aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's unanimous. Okay. So the building inspector's aware he's allowed to do that at this point.
Thank
Just in closing, and I'm not saying that you're not, I would just, hopefully you can do whatever you can to try to push this along to get these people. I know, I'm just,
Believe me,
all I'm doing is acknowledging it,
I'm
and
not-
there's nothing other than that.
It's, as Ed said, it is no benefit to us to
Yeah.
delay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It
but-
really, it is.
But the affordable people are more interest rate sensitive than the market
Yeah.
rate, you know? And we just,
It was easy to, when you used to give us the list before, we would get, on the dates that you had on them, you would have when the PNS was signed and the expected closing dates. That got dropped off of here, for whatever reason, but that would eliminate a lot of questions for us, because we're not just asking you. We could easily just communicate with the building official and say, where's he standing? And he's got the answer for us. And then we don't need to drag you in here all the time. Our goal isn't to harass you.
yeah.
But I ask the
It's not
board
like we
if
don't like
there's
your company.
anything in particular that we haven't covered that you would like me to have for the monthly ZBA meetings with regards to completion schedules, units, PNSs, any of that, if you have guidance on what you're
I mean,
looking for.
the closing dates, really, this is vague. I mean, when you have extensions after extensions in place, it's, the closing date doesn't mean much. You know, I mean, I'm sure, Tim, you're not 6 months late on everything you build.
No, but it's been a rough couple of years.
It has.
Things have been stretched. Typically, like you, we were building in 6, 7 months. Past couple of years, it's really thrown us for a loop. Between COVID and supply chain issues, and fuel prices, and inflation, and people not coming back to the workforce, it's been a real difficult time.
I mean, excuse the sarcasm, but when I hear that the plumber is holding up units for 4 to 6 months, it sounds to me like the tail's wagging the dog.
Not necessarily, Dave.
Well, there's a lot of plumbers in
And I priced out those units with several different plumbers, and they were at least 50% higher than what my plumber's charging. And these are, cost sensitive.
I'm sure they are. Everything
And
is.
so, I'm being told by my plumber, I'm gonna be there on Tuesday of next week, and then he's calling me up on Monday and telling me 3 guys quit, and he can't find replacements, and I've been hearing that now. And unfortunately, I am loyal to my subcontractors, maybe to a fault.
Well, see how it goes from here.
Try harder, I guarantee that.
Sounds good.
Just one request is, I don't know if we're gonna have a meeting next month. If we don't, can we get an update on these 3 units for
Sure.
the next meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Neil talks to Ken, I think, weekly.
Yep.
So anything Ken needs, I think we've been accommodating.
And Ken will know if the
If you have
mechanicals are
any- If you have
inspected or
any
not.
concerns at all, you need to let us know immediately.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you girls have anything else? Everything been answered for you, or?
You're smiling.
I just laugh.
Well, no, it's a difficult situation, but
Yeah.
as you witness with, everybody's trying to do what
Well,
they
I'm
can.
just the same thing with the plumber. In 4 months, there's other plumbers out there. It's just putting somebody who's trying to get the affordable out. And who knows if they're still in the range when or if they get completed.
Yeah, so in defense, and I'm just talking in general terms, in defense of the developer, people have been getting a little wacky with their pricing.
Correct, but I
and so-
never received any information about they were struggling with plumbers or any
Right,
of
yeah.
that. I was just
Yeah, so
unaware of that.
just a suggestion, it's not under our purview, maybe communicate better with them, and maybe that'll
I
smooth
mean,
things
my
over for
realtor
you a little
reaches
bit.
out weekly and gets no response.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Me too.
Okay, good. Very good.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too.
Sure you'll want to come back next month for the heck of it?
Okay, I don't think we have any other agenda items.
Do you want to do that now, or wait until next meeting?
What is that? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Sure.
What's that?
Annually, we have to reorganize the board,
Oh, yeah.
and usually do it, the meeting
By bylaw, we're supposed
after
to
town
do it.
elections.
Yeah, First
If
meeting.
it pleases everyone else, leave it the same. You know, Dan Heaney and Mike Fitzpatrick, chair and co-chair.
Is that a motion? Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bombara, seconded by Mr. Palmer to leave the organization of the board the same for the next 12 months. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
You want a roll call? Oh, no, we don't need, we're all here. I'm on camera.
Yes, you are.
Okay, we
Careful.
we have a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second it.
all right, we have a motion by Mr. Palmer, seconded by Mr. Bombara to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
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 The meeting's adjourned at 8:40.